The Insta360 ONE X2 is the new camera from, well, Insta360. It's an update to the much loved and most excellent original ONE X, and it has a heap of improvements. Let's see, there is a lot, but how about the weather, waterproofing to 10 meters, single lens filming like the hero mode on the GoPro Max, H.265 video codec, meaning essentially that you've got improved video output quality, that primo big bright touchscreen with live view, a better, more rugged feel, and definitely improved build quality, a bigger battery capacity for longer filming, 4 mic ambisonic audio improvement, and an external mic adapter to come. And that's not even mentioning improved flow state stabilization and the absolute pleasure of the Insta360 app and the shot lab full of AI special effects and tips. Who is this camera for? Let me offer you a bit of guidance. Let me start with scenario number one, that you don't have a 360 camera, but you're thinking about getting one. Should you get an Insta360 ONE X2? Why not the ONE R? My main answer would be yes, get the ONE X2, definitely, for all the reasons I said above, but also because of the difference in thickness between the ONE X2 and the ONE R. I think the X2 will have the edge over the ONE R for having fewer stitching issues for 360 video, which becomes more difficult the thicker the camera is. So I think that the X2 wins over the ONE R for that reason, and a few more, like not having that fiddly door for the USB connector, having more mics for better audio, and not having to mess around with a cage and therefore ruining your shot if the selfie stick isn't perfectly aligned. You don't have to worry about that with the tripod mount built into the X2. And finally, it fits nicely in your pocket too, unlike the ONE R. In my view, the X2 is now the best consumer 360 camera for 360 and reframing footage in the market, unless you have some very specific needs. And what might those needs be? Let's say you actually need a robust action camera that shoots great 4K video, but also has some very cool editing features. But number one, you need something robust. Well, 360 cameras are not robust. Even if the build quality is great, those lenses are fragile, even with the lens guards on. And then you'll be compromising quality a little. So maybe you need an action camera first and foremost, but you like the look of 360 cameras and you're attracted to some shots you can get in your action activities that will change your game up a little. If this sounds like you, then I would steer you more towards the ONE R Twin Edition. So to sum up my solution to scenario number one, if you don't have a 360 camera and you really want one, and it's for you rather than commercial work, the best out there right now is the ONE X2. Unless you need something more robust, but you also want to get into 360, then it's the ONE R Twin Edition that is the all-round solution for you. Okay, scenario number two. Let's say you already have the ONE X. Is it worth getting the ONE X2? Let's think about why and why you might not want to do that. First, cost. If you've invested in extra batteries, a case and all that stuff for your ONE X and you're happy with it, then carry on. Nothing out there says that you need to upgrade. The video quality, in my view, is better in the ONE X2, but not drastically so. And I know that some of those shot lab effects that got taken away from the ONE X in the development of the new Universal app have been added back in again in the latest Universal update that happened a couple of days ago. Not all of them, but many of the ones people were missing. Nice one, Insta360. Okay, so what's good and different about the ONE X2 then? Well, compared to the ONE X, the camera body feels more robust. It's slightly bigger, but not in a bad way like I felt the ONE R was. But that's just a completely different concept of camera. The X2 very much builds upon and improves the ONE X. You have the great bright touchscreen with live view, which starts to cut down the time you spend tapping on the buttons and peering at the screen, making sure that you have the right mode on the ONE X. I know I've got that wrong a number of times. The water stroke weatherproofing is a big deal for me on the ONE X2. I really value this in a unibody camera of the ONE X2. Yes, you get this in the ONE R, but there have been problems with that, with fogging and other things about the connectors being loose, and also it needing to be in a cage. Anyway, I digress. This is about the ONE X versus the ONE X2. The megapixel rating and sizing is exactly the same in the ONE X2 as the ONE X, but the H.265 codec means that you can gather more data, meaning your videos should theoretically look crispier with more detail, and I do think you can see that. It also takes up less space on your SD cards. From what I understand, H.265 offers 25% to 50% better data compression at the same level of video quality, or substantially improved video quality at the same bitrate. So it's more efficient in a couple of different ways. So should you buy a One X2 if you already have a One X? Only you can be the judge of that. Personally, the new screen and weatherproofing with increased battery capacity is enough for me to upgrade if I didn't already have one. But if you can live with what you've got, and it seems that Insta360 is not, contrary to initial fears, just going to stop supporting the One X for now, then you might stay with what you already have. But I do think you can start to expect app offerings for the One X2 that won't be available for the One X, and for that to increase over the next period of time. So what if you have a One R? Did you just waste your money? Now, although I don't like the form of the camera so much, the One R is still an excellent 360 camera, and the twin edition bonus of being able to get 4K video too, and not just the 1440p footage offered in the new Steadicam mode of the One X2. If you have a One R, be assured that you've still got a great camera. You already have access to H.265 video with that smaller file size and increased bitrate efficiency, making your outputs considerably better than the One X, and they won't be noticeably different from the One X2 in quality. Stitching though, well, that's another matter, like I've already said. Unless you really prefer the form of the One X2, I wouldn't call buying the X2 an upgrade, but it is a totally different user experience, and that's why I personally prefer the One X2. It's pretty much as simple as that. So what will I use? Having all three cameras, actually I have the 1" One R2. This is how I see my use panning out. I'll be using the One X2 as my main camera. The 1" One R will be taken along for extra crispy photos using PureShot, and for video in low light situations too. So the One R, that 1" edition and the twin edition then becomes my B cam with that 360 mod and 4K mod too, which is great for high resolution slow motion, because the 360 in the One X2 and the One R only record slow motion in 3K over the whole sphere, meaning it's kind of 720p by the time you render it flat. Using the 4K module, you can get decent slow motion footage at 2.7K. Click here on my 21 tips video to find out more. And the One X, well, that's still going to get used every now and again, but it really does stay as my baseline camera. All new cameras get compared to how good the One X was and still is. That is its legacy. It really was the best in class, and it's the benchmark to test everything else against, and it's still a damn good 360 camera in 2020. Check out my Ask Me Anything about the Insta360 ONE X2 live stream coming up in a couple of days. Be great to see you there. And here's my detailed One X2 rundown in case you missed it. Hope this video is helpful. Buy stuff from Insta360 using my link below and you get the same great deals, and I get a little affiliate commission too. Cheers all, go well, laters in it.